Oliver, to be blunt, I'm getting confused and a little bit annoyed about what exactly is going on in the bidding war for Alstom and the French government's position therein. Can you please shed some light?
So we've got Alstom, the French industrial conglomerate, put simply two competing bids for parts of Alstom. One, the far more straightforward one, comes from GE of the US. They've offered $17 billion to take almost all of Alstom except for the rail parts of the business. That's all. Fairly straightforward deal. The competing offer, which has been unveiled this week, comes from Siemens and Mitsubishi, and they've offered something far more complex, which essentially involves carving Alstom up. Siemens would take the gas turbines business, Mitsubishi would take parts of the renewables business and parts of the steam turbines business and other parts of the business. Alstom will be left with its rail business, smatterings of other things, and some cash. Far more complex.
Okay, well, given the dismemberment you just described, I have to know, like, which deal creates more value for Alstom shareholders, and really, like, is the French government really just the one causing all of this complexity?
Well, let's take the second part first. Yes, a lot of it is the French government. So in theory, it's Alstom shareholders who will decide about this. In practice, the French government seems to be running the show, and everyone's sort of running around trying desperately to please Arnaud Montebourg, the French industry minister. So the government will have a big say in what happens with this, because Alstom's a big French employer, so they're very keen to preserve jobs. And indeed, in the Mitsubishi Siemens offer, there are some job guarantees, particularly in the gas turbines business. In terms of which is better for Alstom shareholders, well, the Siemens Mitsubishi offer looks slightly better financially, but far more complex. The GE offer offers a straight exit from most of the businesses, a clear cash return for them, much easier. Whereas the Siemens Mitsubishi offer is far more complex and relies on a lot of JVs working out, and that's not always the case.
Okay, well, assuming Monsieur Montebourg is pleased with the GE offer, and assuming that's true, why were Siemens and Mitsubishi involved here, do you think?
Well, perhaps it's because Montebourg really wants an alternative to GE and doesn't like the GE offer. If he does, then maybe it's just a way of squeezing, not quite more money, but certainly more guarantees out of GE. In response to this latest Siemens-Mitsubishi proposal, GE might have to modify its offer, perhaps by offering more guarantees in terms of jobs or other aspects of its business in France. There's also a benefit for Siemens and Mitsubishi. If the deal doesn't go ahead, then they win some sort of kudos in the eyes of the French government for helping to get the situation moving along. And if you look at it from Mitsubishi, if the deal goes ahead, Mitsubishi pays €4 billion and gets control of nothing. If it doesn't, they're back where they started, but potentially in a better situation in the eyes of the French government for helping to sort out the Alstom situation.
All right, confusing, but also a bit ruthless. Thank you, Oliver.